Hey everybody, how we doing? It is Halloween. I am decked out today. Let me grab a seat. You can see I've got the full outfit on today. I think everybody knows who this is. I've got a giveaway today, as I've said. I know this is kind of a little odd for some folks. We have changed things up a little bit. Just for this episode, I've got some new backgrounds, some sound effects, and some Halloween stuff. Me and the family actually gets very involved in Halloween. We are actually going as Kiss, the whole family. The wife will be the cat, and it slips my mind right now his name. I'm sure everybody will shout it out. Eric, I'm sorry. Or is it Eric? Well, either way, we're going as Kiss, the family. We've got complete costumes for the family. We're going to have the whole works. We'll take some pictures and stuff too, but this is what we do for Halloween. I have shaved, as you see, which is something I don't do very often, so you'll get to see me without a beard, goatee, or anything, but this is our live show, so we will hop over here. I do like Kiss. I miss seeing them in the, let's say, 84. We did go back and actually saw them at the hotel, so I did get to meet Gene and the whole group. Ace Frehley, everybody was there. I think it was just before Unmasked. But anyway, this is what we got going on for today. I've got some pick items here too. I'm going to do my best to get into those. I'll probably end up answering some questions if there are any. And I do have a giveaway for today. I am going to play something, and when that pops up, I'm going to tell you what you have to do to get it. But you will be seeing something rather abrupt come up, and I will show it to you right now. That will pop up, and you will have an option to win a one of my pieces of artwork. Again, it's an original piece of artwork. It's going to happen sometime today. I will wait till we have some more folks on to do it. But when that comes up, there's going to be actually a different one after that, and it will give you some options as well too. So just an FYI. We are lagging on this side, but other than that, everything seems to be working fine. So there shouldn't be an issue with today's feed. It looks like everything's playing. I do have sound if everybody hears me correctly. Let's see who's here today. Cindy Y, welcome. The Veranda Files, welcome. Aaron Klug, Sophie's Choice, Kara Irway, Disney Family 515, Treasure Experts, Ian Kendall, Crafty Reseller, Mark Corbett, Stephen Rose Resell. Let's see here. The Junk and Data Girl. Let's see, who else? Did I miss anybody? Penny Day, welcome. Hang on, I've got a bunch in here, it looks like. Just let me slide down here. Yeah, we did pick a different backdrop. I tried to get some eerie noise in the background, so you should hear some wind and things like that going on. Let me see here. Carl Bach, welcome. John Clissold. I'm sure I've pronounced a few names bad, unfortunately. Costa, welcome again. Nancy, welcome. Let's see here. Sam Dallas, welcome. David, welcome. I think I've got everybody so far. Everybody's not in the chat, but that's fine. Again, we do go out for Halloween. I actually have, let me see so you can just see it. It's got the whole cape, the whole outfit. We go out, as I said, we go way out on Halloween. But the main point of the video, I do have some haul items that I was going to show. And I'll just show some haul items, I guess, real quick here first. Now, I go out and do picks all the time, as I said. I had a real nice pick from one of my pickers, and some of the items that I found are actually, unfortunately, it's green, so you're going to get to see the green screen on it. But this is actually a 8mm film of the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, I paid $125 for about 70 of these. This one alone is worth $75 to $95 any day of the week. It's actually a 400 reel 8mm sound with magnetic sound, the whole works. As I said, $125 I think is what I had into this total lot of these, and I got them when I saw these. Now, for those of you who are Hitchcock fans, this is right up the alley of horror movies. If you haven't seen that one, I'm sure everybody has seen Psycho. Classic. You know, you can't beat Psycho. But again, this pick here that I got, I picked up a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm going to show you some other items as well, too. but these are the key items here. With just these 3 8mm movies right here, there's probably 225 to say 240 back in just these 3 videos. So, well, I keep saying videos, but they're actually 8mm films. I got other ones in the lot too. Not huge movers, every one of them, but you know, you've got Elvis, Our Man Flint, Thoroughly Modern Millie. Now again, these cases match the cases you see on the VHS tapes. So, you know, this is just something that I always look for. This is probably one of the best lots I've gotten this year in 8mm films. You know, these things just don't show up of this quality and stuff, especially with magnetic film. Now, I have a projector to play and test these. I actually have 3 different projectors that we do use. So, you know, I got a ton of them. There's horror movies, Airport, if you haven't seen that one. There's Laurel and Hardy. There's specialty ones. There's preview ones. There's even complete hour and 20-minute movies here. So, I mean, here's another one. Here's Amos and Andy. It's actually 4 reels, if you can see it. It's the entire hour and 20-minute movie. I've got 7 or 8 movies like this, and these movies here, they go for, say, 40 to 100 bucks on average, given the day of the week and also. Again, they're pretty interesting items. And then I've got tons and tons of other ones, as you can see. Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges, Harold Lloyd, Fatty Arbuckle. Just a ton of them in here, though. So I wish I could show you everything here, but there's just a ton. They're early Black Hawks. Again, I said there's like 50 or 60 complete preview length. They're like 20 minutes. That's usually what you get on these home movies. That's not all I got. Some of the other items I got. Now, I pick up old vintage dolls as well, too. Now, I spent a little bit on a bunch of these dolls. These are composition, 1910-ish or so. It's a baby doll. Composition legs, stuffed body. Though the best one in there, the most interesting one, maybe not something that everybody would see. Hang on just a second here. Let me pull this one out. Now, this one here is a German one. Now, it looks kind of odd. That's the way you'll see these. I actually have the wig for her hair, but if you haven't seen one of these earlier dolls, the interesting part is that it's actually leather. Leather and actually brass and metal rivets. So this is all leather. This is composition, and then her head it's actually a German body or a German head, porcelain with actually glass sleepy eyes. It's not worth a fortune, believe it or not. I'll probably get 60 or so bucks out of it. This will pay for all the dolls I got. Obviously, I'll display it a little better than you're seeing it right now. But the head is a German one. This was made in 1900 on the dot by the marks on the back. I'm probably going to go into a video on dolls and things like that too, because we buy them. I don't care if it's considered something a guy wouldn't buy. Money is money in my book. You know, I buy a ton of these. Some of them aren't in the best condition. These can be repaired. I won't repair them, of course. This is something that'll just go into a lot here, too. Other items that I get, and I usually try and find a bunch of these, but this is a reel-to-reel, and it's actually mixed up with the movie. So for those of you who don't know what a reel-to-reel is, it's just basically like a tape cassette on a big 8-inch reel is what these are. I think these are 8 inches, if I'm not mistaken. But it's literally, you'd have to play it on a reel-to-reel. When tapes came out, these pretty much started to fade because tapes are actually basically the same thing. This is a 4-track. There's 2 tracks. There's 4-track stereo, which this is, and what you look for is 7.5 IPS. That's inches per second on these. So if you haven't seen one of these, even this being Swan Lake Ballet, this is probably 15 or 20 bucks. Unfortunately, there's green in it. But anyway, we will move on from there. Some other items that I got, and I've talked about stuff before, some of these other cards that I get. These are actually a stack of stereo views. Now, I'm not big into stereo views, just the everyday one. I've sold some for $200-300, which I've shown in my hauls. This is a stack that's all related to the Spanish-American War. This is actually the Maine. So remember the Maine? This is the ship that sunk or was torpedoed. This is actually the damage of the ship on the deck. Now, there's different versions of these. These aren't horrendously high dollars. I've got 20 bucks into this entire stack here. For 20 bucks, I took a shot because the main ones go for 10. This is 10 as well too. Again, they're not huge super movers, even though they're from 1898, but the rest of them are military ships. And these are what's going to sell. I'll get 14 bucks or so on average for these. I get my money back from my two Maine, USS Maine. It was sunk in Cuba, Havana Harbor. And then the rest of them are military ships, which all of these, again, I get 14 bucks on average for every one of these. They're not all military ships, but as you see, there's a bunch of them here. They keep going on, so there's quite a few of the ships. I grabbed all the ships. Now this one's a little better than most because it's actually got some of the camouflage you can see on the ship itself. Hopefully you can see that fairly well. These are the average condition you get. They're pretty nice condition actually. But when you get the ships are worth more than the average. Even the combat scenes, the ships seem to sell better. As you see, I got mostly ships. There was pictures of Santiago and some other images too, but they're just not big movers. So I passed on a bunch, and I picked up the ones that I thought would be the best. Now this is an in-camp shot, so I picked out a few since I paid 20 bucks. He threw in a couple extra when I bought that many, or bought the bunch. And some of these are rare troopers, not rare I should say, but these are 15, 20 bucks for each one of the ones with the people. Here's one with them actually loading, so these are interesting ones. The combat ones, as I said, are very, very common. They made tons of those, but they made less of the casual shots. Even some of the battle scenes they have in there too. But, you know, this is just literally 20 bucks. Out of my 20 bucks, I'll at least get, say, I'm being lowball estimate, I should get, say, 140 back on these. 145, somewhere in that range. So, you know, after fees, I'm going to make over 100 bucks on that 20 bucks. After my 20 bucks and everything, it's still going to get 100 bucks profit on that. So, you know, that's what I look for on stuff like that. Now, I've talked about Viewmasters as well a little bit in a couple of videos. I don't buy them in big bulk lots unless I know there's some really good ones. The best ones to get are the ones from obviously the 60s and before. Now these aren't super high dollar movers, but I've spent $1 or so on each pack of these. It's got the booklet, it's got the booklets here, and then it's got all 3 reels. All these are 3 reelers. This is a TV show, Laugh-In. I remember when it was on TV. It's kind of like Hee Haw, if you ever saw that. But these are, again, 10 bucks or so I'll get out of this one. Same, $1 Coronation. It's complete, all 3 discs. This is 1953, I do believe. But it's Queen Elizabeth II. So, again, another 10 bucks. Again, $1 all day long I'll buy these at. And, you know, you can just see, quick list, couple photos, it's up. It should sell within a couple weeks. Again, I didn't get a ton on the pick, but I figured I'd throw it together so we can give out some, and I'd probably answer some questions. McFadden and his wonderful lamp. Now this has Gabby Hayes in it. Now if you're not familiar with Gabby Hayes, I'm not going to shout out who he is. You'll have to look that one up. Unfortunately, we have some green in the image too, but look up who Gabby Hayes is. This is a 45, nice pictures, comic illustrations. It's a nice original. Again, $1 a piece for these. With the Gabby Hayes on it, it's a yellow record, so for some reason it's actually showing up clear, which is really weird. I guess you can see the green through it. That's very interesting, actually. But the records are very nice. They're almost mint. Again, on these, they're probably going to be about 20, 25 bucks for my $1. I picked up a ton of records, too, but I don't want to sit here and just dig through records. And then I picked up this one, too. Again, a lot of green in it, unfortunately, but it's a Bugs Bunny. It's a Capital. It's a promo on top of that. So this one here is probably about 20, 25 bucks for my $1 investment. And then I picked up some actual stills. Now, I talk about stills. You see me selling photos all the time. I pick up stacks of them when I can. This is just a small stack. I've got 10 bucks into all of these. It's from the 50s. 53, I believe, is the date, or 51. This is the Golden Horde. Again, for what I have into these 10 bucks, these are probably 15 or 20 bucks minimum for each one of them. I think there's like 17 here. So, you know, I'm going to get like 250, maybe somewhere in that range, profit on these. So again, when you see this kind of stuff, don't hesitate if they're cheap enough. You know, I probably got, you know, maybe 60 cents into each one of these. So again, and some of them have the paper with it too, with the information on it. So again, this one's from let's see here, Monty Woolley, As Young as You Feel. Again, it's just a mix match. Let's see, this one I think is the Golden Horde again. Again, these earlier 50 ones, like if this was Charlton Heston with Ben-Hur, they'd probably be like 40 or 50 bucks a piece. But just common ones like this, as I said, 15, 20 bucks. And you should recognize some of the people in these, I would hope. At least if you're a little older and you've watched some early movies. This is Cyrano de Bergerac, I'm sorry. So this is another common one. And this is of Men in Music. And I think this is Bernstein, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I'm sorry, Arthur Rubinstein conducting. Again, this is just a small sample of what I got. There's a bunch of these, as I said. These are original 8x10s, originally from 1950. These aren't repros. I'm sorry, upside down. Repros or anything like that. Golden Horde, they're oddball topics, they're oddball shows, they're oddball movies, things that sell well. And they have the descriptor on the back, so that's even better. It would have been better if they weren't glued onto it, but, you take them as you go. For 10 bucks, I cannot beat it. There's quite a few in here. There's Fred McMurray, if you don't know who he is. Flubber, he was the original absent-minded professor for Flubber and the whole works, too. So, anyway. And then there's some oddball subjects in here. Somebody else was asking about some hula girls. Now, there was some from here. Now, this movie is, I think it's Tiki. Let me think of that. Kon-Tiki. Now, these are originals from the movie. Now, these would be something more desirable. It has the slip on one of them. Actually, it has the slip on two of them. I've got a couple of the same ones. When you're seeing stuff like this, if they're dirt cheap or cheap enough, don't worry about buying more than one. I'll buy 10, 15, 20 of the right item if it's worth the money. So just keep that in mind. They're all original. They're all vintage. They're all nicely detailed. They're clean. Hurricane Island. But that's really about the main parts. What I got. I got a ton of small papers. I got some more costume jewelry. It's just a little hard to show costume jewelry in this atmosphere. So anyway, let's see if anybody has any questions. I'll be happy to answer a few questions. Again, I am going to be giving something away in just a few minutes here. It's not going to be a long video today. We're going to be a short one here because we do got some plans today. So just FYI. If you haven't hit the like button, if you're enjoying this, please hit the like button for me too. I know I don't say that a lot. I do. Kind of slips my mind. Thanks everybody for the great comment on the costume. Ace Frehley, yeah, he's one of them too. Eric Carr, I think, took over, and I can't remember the name of. Oh, Peter Criss, he's the original one. My wife is going to be Peter Criss. I'm sorry. I've had all the albums, so it's hard to remember every single album character and stuff. Kiss has had a different lineup. The only two real ones are Gene Simmons and oh shoot, now see I'm brain lost again on the other one. Ace Frehley. I think that's not Ace Frehley. Paul Stanley, I'm sorry. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. It's been a long day trying to get everything situated for today. Dressed up as Gene Simmons in 1976. Yeah, I was just a hair too young to do Gene Simmons in 76. We saw him, as I said, in like 80-something. We didn't see the concert, but we actually saw them back at their hotel. Somebody told us where they were going to be at the hotel, and we hung out there for a while. And we did actually get to see them all. They all shook our hands. They gave us autographs, the whole work. So it was rather interesting. Favorite Kiss song? Oh, geez. I Was Made for Loving You. I know people would say that that's a disco song, but I actually like that song. Heaven's on Fire, of course, is good. Let's Put the X in Sex. I have to say that's not too bad either. Detroit Rock City. I Love It Loud. Lick It Up. I like most of the Kiss songs. Love Gun's always good. Dr. Love. I could go on and on. Strutter. Most of the earlier stuff's pretty good. If you haven't heard Kiss before, I really recommend you doing it. I can't say that I'm a specific fan of the actual people themselves, like Gene Simmons or something. Nothing against them at all, but, I'm not a big idolizer of famous people. We worked at Disney. We got to see, God knows how many people in person. I met Robin Williams. We met Michael Jackson. Princess Diana was in the park when we were there. We got to see her. I didn't get to talk to her. They had too many bodyguards. But, people like that you could actually talk to. I've talked to tons of people, and they're just normal people. They go about their normal life. So, I'm not one to worship somebody or idolize somebody. Again, nothing wrong if that's your thing. But for us, it's not my bag at all. I like dressing up. We do cosplay and stuff. Every year we dress up as a family. Last year we were all Tusken Raiders. I'm sorry, last year we were the Clockwork Orange. The year before that, we were all Star Wars characters, Tusken Raiders. I've done our kids' costumes and things like that for years. This one's basically a pre-bought one just because of time constraints, but usually we make our own costumes and deck them out too. But anyway, yeah, Walking Dead. I used to watch Walking Dead until last season. We kind of lost it with Negan and the whole works. It just was out of what I was looking for. I liked when they were on the farm and the whole works. So this season, actually, we didn't even buy at all. Last season we bought it and we only watched half of it. So I've got half of a season from last year that we didn't even watch, even though we paid for it. I just couldn't get into it anymore, unfortunately. I love the premise. I love the first 7 seasons of it, but Walking Dead's kind of dragged along a little bit too bad. So anyway, we do love Halloween, of course. So you can see we do go all out. I did spend some time on stuff here. Let me see if I got some questions here. It looks like I got some more popping up in here. Yeah, by the time you buy stuff, Jerry, yep, you are correct. A lot of things actually sell, a couple times over. We've had things that people have actually sold. They dump it off at a local live auction when they can't, or not sold, I mean listed. And then they dump it off at a local live auction when they can't sell it. And then sometimes I do buy it because a lot of people, when they list stuff, they only list them once or twice. They relist it, they take them down, and then they trash them. A lot of people aren't worried about long tail hauls. So that's why I still buy some things at local live auctions. You're okay to do that to some extent. Just be cautious. Sometimes I'll look stuff up at a local live auction and I can see that they've already listed it. It's a local live one. It's got a certain damage to it or something. So I look up those when we're at a live auction all the time. Always I do that. But anyway. Yep, Mark Gene is a fairly good businessman. He's branded everything. Even down to these costumes are all licensed products. He actually has videos on how to do and set up and put on the gear and do all that kind of stuff. And plus, for those of you who don't know, his wife's fairly famous too. I'm not going to get into what she does because that's off topic here a little bit. But welcome, Tony. Happy Halloween to everybody. All Night Long's a good one too. Rock and Roll All Night. That's a good one. I will show Katrina some family pictures as well too. We dress up a couple times a year. We actually take Halloween pictures around the Christmas tree. So maybe that's a little odd for some folks, but we deck it all out, and then we take out pictures throughout the year a couple of times, and we post them on some boards that we are members of too. So it's just, as I said, it's been a family thing. We've won some awards. We've done a lot of custom costuming and stuff over the years. I've made Jawa costumes, and one of my sons wanted to be a Rebel Trooper one year from the original Star Wars, and I decked out the costume, and we found and made up the helmets and the whole work. So I'm very big into the Halloween and the whole aspect of it too. So just FYI. But again, for those of you who missed it, you're going to see something pop on the screen, and when that pops on, I am going to give something away. This is what is going to pop on, but this is not the time. I am just kind of showing you if you missed it. But again, in a few minutes here, sometime tonight, once we get a few more subscribers, I'm not going to holler out, but we were going to give you an option. As I said, I'm going to give away one piece of original artwork hand-painted by me, something that I spent a little bit of time on and something that was used. It's an original that was used in one of my postcard productions. So again, this is something that was an original piece. I'm actually going to include a actual postcard, a printed postcard of the piece of artwork, so you can see the actual artwork and the actual finished piece of work as well that was printed from that. So this gives you an idea on what we do. So anyway, I will be doing that in just a little while here. This isn't going to be a long video. I probably am going to wrap up before a quarter till the hour, just because, again, this is holiday season for many of us. I wasn't sure if I was going to want to do a live show, but I figured, what the heck. I'm sure we won't get as many as we usually get on the show, just because I know people are out with Halloween trick-or-treating for some of their kids. We have kids, but ours are much older. Tomorrow night we'll probably be doing something together with the kids. Usually we go out and watch some horror movies together and things like that. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, you can shoot them out for a few minutes here. I'll be happy to answer. One issue, too, I wanted to point out here. And I've been in a big discussion with somebody about this, and they doubted that this was the case. One reason I would always recommend doing the free returns on everything, and people are going to argue with me on this, if you do free returns and someone sends something back, even if you do not give them full credit. I had an issue here. I'll just throw out an example. I had somebody who was upset with something. Wasn't anything actually wrong with the item. We went back and forth on it. It was a nice, pleasant conversation. He actually repaired it. And I asked him ahead of time, I said, if you repaired the item, you've altered it and I can't take it back. He assured me he didn't. Sure enough, as soon as I get the item, which he sent me a picture of it with tape on this item, so I knew he repaired it, but he had said he didn't. I get it back and it's unrepaired. It's repaired. He's glued stuff back together very poorly, so at this point it's just junk. He damaged it opening the item. And basically, I couldn't, you have to give him something when you do a return. So basically, I only gave him half his money back. And I knew what was going to happen. He's going to leave me bad feedback, which was fine. For those of you who don't know, if you give a free returns on your listings, eBay will remove every single bad feedback you get on that item, no matter what reason that person lists the bad feedback for it. So if you get a negative on a returned item that you settled, you either gave him a partial refund or a full refund or whatever level you have in between, eBay will remove any piece of feedback that guy left you, no matter what. Proof in the pudding, the gentleman left feedback. He said I was being, I forgot how he worded it, but basically that I was being hostile towards him because I wouldn't give him the refund, even though I addressed the issue prior to him returning it. He left the feedback 10 minutes later after talking to eBay. It was just a quick phone call. They removed it immediately. That goes for negatives and neutrals. So again, if you are not offering free returns and you still have to take a return back because it wasn't as described, you are still going to keep the feedback if you don't offer free returns. So again, if you're going to have to take something back, it would have been better for you to have offered the free returns to begin with. In my book, it's worth a few dollars, to keep my feedback, the way it is. So just FYI. And I know a lot of people said that's not true, that they can leave feedback on a return. But if you've offered free returns on all your listings, whatever listing they're returning, eBay removes those feedbacks. Now they say they do it automatically after a week. I don't trust that aspect of it. I know if you physically call them, they are going to take that feedback off of your record and you are going to be good to go. So, that's a big plus in my book. And one thing most people don't know, because it didn't happen that way, they changed that aspect of it June 1st when the new ruling and guidelines rolled out. So again, that was part of the update. That was part of the summer update. That was a good part of the summer update because, again, if somebody's returning something, they may have an issue with it. If they return it and you're fine with it and you've settled it and eBay didn't step in, eBay will remove the feedback. I don't care if they say you screwed them over or they were unhappy with it. For any reason whatsoever, they cannot leave. I should say they can leave feedback, but it will be instantly removed. So just FYI. Let me see here. Hang on, let me pop up to the top here as I got a few questions. Yeah, Rich Sanders, I will put a doll video together on a bolo on those. I pick up only specific kinds, the earlier ones, and they have to be cheap to get my money back because like some of the dolls I showed you, I'll probably get $30 or so. I've got probably 6 or 8 more of them over here. They're all pretty much the same similar styling. What you want is like a composition arms and legs with a porcelain head, and usually you want them marked, so just FYI. Yeah, Kimberly, I would be careful on buying antique dolls at antique malls. That is one area that I see them priced usually more than they are worth, more than not. I very rarely ever see anything doll-wise priced reasonably. They're almost always not priced reasonably. They're always marked up to a horrendous amount from what I see, and they're really just not worth it. I got those at a local live auction. So I'm telling you, the best places I find vintage dolls like that for a reasonable price are local live auctions. I don't necessarily buy the best looking dolls all the time. If they're dirt cheap, sometimes at a cleanup at the end of the auction, you can get dolls like the ones I just showed you for $1 or $2 a piece, believe it or not. So anyway. Don, wondering if you would consider doing a things that you could not sell video. That would be a great things not to sell. I have done some things on the do not sell list. I do have a video in my playlist about that specifically. I had a friend who sent something through the mail that actually broke in shipment, and he did get in some trouble for that. End result is that the charges were technically dropped, but he spent thousands of dollars to get himself out of it. So go back and look through my how-to videos, and it's I just type in the word jail and the search criteria on my how-to play videos, and you will find that video fairly readily. I could put another one together for you too, though, so I will work on that too. Lucille Ball with George Carlin. Not sure if you're talking about the photos. Where do you find this stuff? A lot of these items show up at auctions, estate sales auctions, flea markets. I shop all those sources. I shop anywhere in the local area that I think I can get a good deal on. Even the little small mom and pop, hole-in-the-wall thrift stores or resale shops. Any of that stuff's good. We go to even secondhand bookstores. I don't usually go to record shows or record sales or postcard sales or postcard shows, but I do get most of those at big auctions. There's paper auctions like every other month in many areas. Sometimes if you don't mind traveling, I have an hour range that I'll go, an hour around in a circle. Just draw a circle around where I'm at, and an hour drive, and that's about where my range is normally. I don't usually go more than that because I just don't like to drive. This time of year I'm going to start going less to pickers and more on my own, just because I don't have the sources from the pickers because of how things work. So welcome, Danny. Hopefully I've said hi to everybody. Katrina, thanks for the costume. The hair is obviously a wig. I have had hair longer than this you see here. I've had it down to my waist, and I could actually do this on my own many times. I don't keep too much long hair. I'm probably going to end up with short hair this week next time you see me, but just an FYI. Thank you, Bill. If you haven't hit the like button, please pop that like button there. Helen, thank you. Thanks everybody for the costume. Let's see if I got a question here. Hang on just a second. We are going to see. Now's your chance. If you send me an email to my channel, you go to my channel about me, you can go to the email page. You have to say you are not Gene and pick out which postcard design you want. I've got 3 of them. This is A. And again, you're going to get the original piece of artwork. These are all watercolors, hand done by me. Again, so there's 3 different designs. You will get an actual copy of the printed postcard as well. So again, the last one, C, would be my choice to pick if it was me. But B and C would be the top 2 choices. Again, whoever goes to my email first and says you are not Gene and tells me which one they want, you will get original piece of artwork. Again, I get $100, no lie, out of these whenever I do them and list them. That is my usual selling price on these. There are no backs on them. They're actually watercolor. They're on Winsor & Newton actual watercolor paper. I've used fine quality supplies to do them. They're all hand signed. Again, they're roughly done on the edges, just like you would see an original piece of artwork. So again, I will look at that this evening once I get off, and I will announce the winner in my next video, just so everybody knows who won. Again, if you are the first one, I will have to get back with you and get your address to mail that off to you. Again, it's free and clear. Shipping, everything is going to be included. So again, the first person to go to my About Me page and send an email that I am not Gene and which one you want, you will get it. So again, I sell those on eBay. I haven't sold any for a little while just because I've got so many other things going on. I thought I would hold on to some of them. Usually I do keep some of the better ones. So again, C I would have kept, but I'm going to give these out as a bonus to somebody. So if somebody's looking for it, that was your chance to get it. So again, let's pop back in over here and see where we're at. I'm not going to be on a whole bunch longer now, again, because it is, my non-typical day for doing a live show. The wife and I have got some plans still tonight, so just FYI. Let me see here. Let me just pop down. Ever mess with old keys? I have a ton. My dad was obsessed with them, and I took them all after he passed. Now, if you're talking old car keys, we'll sell. We do sell some keys. I mostly mess with giant skeleton keys or the big brass ones. And I'm talking the big ones that would be like in the old prison cells or old gates and things like that from the 1860s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Car keys can sell, but they sell very cheap. There are some keys that are like safety lockbox keys that you're not legally allowed to sell. So just keep that in mind. You want to be careful with what you're selling on some of these keys because they're not all sellable. So again, be careful. Let me see here. Dr. Love, yep, you can't go wrong. Hang on here. My feed is all messed up on my chat here, so it keeps popping up and disappearing. Welcome, Andrew. Jennifer, welcome. The Comfortable Life, welcome. Audrey Vloggies, welcome. Johanna Parrish, Katrina, Ian Kendall. If I missed you, I do apologize. As I said, my feed is disappearing. My chat, it comes and goes. Welcome, Studio 1231. Andrew, I just gave it away, as I said. For those of you who missed it, I just gave you a chance to win something. Yeah, Duncan VR. I very rarely have a return on something. This person actually opened up a piece of paper. He said he got the tape stuck to the item when he was opening it. Again, it made it to him fine. He opened it, wasn't careful. You know, I take him back no matter what. I know he did it. He actually glued it because I'm assuming he assumed he was going to keep it, but for whatever reason he changed his mind. He originally asked me if I'd take a lesser fee or take a deduction on the price, which I probably would have done either way, just because a return will it's still better to offer a reduced price. I very rarely do that, but he did send pictures. I don't doubt that it was damaged, but he damaged it, so that's, I guess, the leeway on that. What should you do with Halloween items that have not sold at this point? I keep them running all year round. It depends on how many auctions you have, whether you want to keep them running all year round. I sell Halloween stuff all year round. Like our own personal artwork postcards. I sell one or two at least every single week. Sometimes I've sold one every single day of the week. I've been selling Halloween postcards for 2 years, you know, constantly. Every single week for at least 2 years I've been selling our own Halloween postcards. That's just on eBay. I sell them in other places too. I don't worry when it goes out of season on the holidays. I list Christmas all year round. I list Halloween all year round. Easter, on the other hand, I don't. I don't list Easter all year round unless they're like really fancy angels or anthropomorphic bunnies or rabbits or something really cute. Those ones I will list, but you know, just standard religious ones I don't mess with. 4th of July I don't usually list ahead of time unless they're really fancy embossed postcards or something along that line. So just keep that in mind. Again, it depends on how many listings you have. For us, I pay 5 cents or less a listing. I get 20,000 free listings a month with my store fees. So, you know, for me, it's not a big deal if something runs or sits there for a little while because it's 60 cents to run an item for an entire year. So, you know, and you've got still a decent chance in selling it at any point. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Yeah, Danny, the free returns, again, if you offer it, you are saving yourself from any potential feedback. And I know a lot of people have clothing and stuff, and you get returns on those quite often, more so than most other items. I generally never have a return. That was honestly my first return in I don't know how long. I had one other one that a guy was trying to scam me on a return. He ended up getting stuck with the item. eBay removed the feedback on that one as well, too. As long as you know what you're doing and you have your ducks in a row, probably 95% of all feedback, you know, issues I've had taken care of from my end because I did everything right and the other person didn't. So, you know, as long as you know how it all works and you know how to play the game just like they do, you're going to come out ahead on it. So, just FYI. Welcome, Susie. Susie. Viewers with other ones. Yeah, you know, Mark, I've actually been asked to come on some other shows. I haven't looked into what it takes to put another feed in. I can do 2 feeds here in my actual physical place from 2 of my own cameras, but I'll have to dig into that. You know, I've talked about that. I thought about that as well, too. Again, I'm going to be doing some like on-location feeds here really quickly, probably within the next month or 2. It may end up waiting till January only because of this is 4th quarter and you know, it's busy for me and it's busy for the people that I'd like to talk with too. So anyway, Welcome, Chris. Let's see here. I did that little cheap animation you see with the zombies, just FYI. I do some stuff like that. I do Anime Studio and stuff like that. So we are working on some 50s sci-fi styled animation that will be coming up. It's probably going to be on a different channel or somewhere else, but anyway, I might show a peek of it here if anybody's ever interested. Yeah, hair will be gone tomorrow. South London Resale, welcome. Thank you. Carl Bach. You can sell railroad keys, Carl. It just depends on what they go to. We sell the padlocks, the railroad padlocks with the skeleton key quite often. The new style keys, though, I would be wary on because there is a chance that it would unlock a new lock. But if I get it with a lock, I usually throw it up and just take a risk on it. I've never had one pull down on a lock like that, but I have had friends who had the like security boxes and bank deposit box keys yanked by eBay immediately with a warning issued to them. So I learned before I ever listed one of those the deal on those. Let me see here. Wealth for Moms. If you haven't hit the like button, please pop that like button. I knew we were going to get a negative. It's the same person every day, I know. So anyway, let's see. I have a question about international shipping. Can you make a small box like you do for cards and put in poly bags? I'm not really sure what you're asking, I guess. When I ship for international, I make cardboard just like a card. I'll wrap it up in cardboard just like I would a U.S. shipment. Everything goes in a poly bag. Unless it's an item, I just ship it out in one of the eBay boxes and it's done. I don't ship anything internationally, first class international over 4 pounds, and anything to the 7 countries. I only ship to 7 countries. I do, let's see, Canada, France, England, Germany, Japan, Australia, and I think that is all that I ship to directly. The rest are all through global shipping. I use the same shipping boxes no matter where it's going to. If I got to make a box, I make a box, but as long as it's not over 4 pounds, I ship to those countries I just named directly through First Class International. Everything else goes global shipping program. I have not had any issues with that whatsoever to this point. Tara Lee, welcome. Mark, when you make your postcards, how do you print them? I actually have printers. I have 2 different printing houses that I use. I actually use Got Print. I will give that one out there. That's my main printer. You've got to be a little cautious and make sure you get a sample pack if you're going to have them printed out. So you can kind of get a gist on the price. I've given out what I pay for the actual 100 postcards. I only print 100 at a time. This year will be the first year I have to have second printings done on some cards even. Usually I'll sell out one lot, or I'll sell a group to somebody locally for advertisements or for Halloween, and I'll sell them all at once and I'm just done with them. This year I've had some that I did last year that have been very, very popular, and I've actually run into a couple people who picked them up at even a show because I have had some group purchases of some of my cards from some actual dealers because I do gang sell them out as well too. So anyway, I have everything custom printed. Just make sure you get the right point stock. You get the UV coating and such forth, or you don't get a UV coating depending on the look you're looking for. I don't do super gloss on my cards. There's dozens and dozens of subscribers who have bought cards or have got cards from me. So for those of you who've seen them, you can see I don't use the high gloss on anything. I try to make them look like they're more vintage than anything else. And I am looking into doing some Hold to the Light cards too this coming up year, and some embossing. I've got an embosser that I've actually been working on. I made it myself, and something I can hopefully emboss some of the cards with after they're printed. So anyway, let's see. Ouija boards sell? Yes, I do. I sold my last one, I think, in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I had a couple of those that I bought during the summer. Yeah, most of the vintage Halloween I buy from estate sales or auctions if I'm buying vintage cards. Ouija boards, I sell most of them. I just sold a fluid one or fold one just the other day. It was like a 30s. It was before Parker Brother picked it up. It was the board and the planchet as well too. The planchet was missing the center little clear plastic. But other than that, it was good. Cheryl Sharp, thank you. Chad T, welcome. Can I show the clip again? This is just cheapo. I spent just a little bit of time, you know, maybe an hour total doing it. I like playing around. Nothing fancy on the animation, but, you know, I like playing around with stuff. It's actually just a Walking Dead zombie photo. You know, it's the same photo that's actually the thumbnail for this video, believe it or not. You know, I just chopped up the images and I just matted them around each different character and, you know, just animated them quickly. I actually worked at Disney for a little while, and I actually applied at the actual full-fledged animation department. And Disney paid for me to go to Valencia College and take some life drawing classes. You know, and then I actually paid for my schooling with my artwork, which I sold at their annual show. And if anybody's from Florida, the Mainland Art Center has a couple pieces of my artwork in their permanent collection. It's an actually state-funded museum, as well as Valencia owns a couple of my pieces too. I sold every piece I listed in the show. I just threw some crazy price out and I ended up selling them. For those of you who don't know, I have done portraits, 400 or 500 in my life. I used to do that on the side and make some pretty good money. I do sell artwork, you know, I still do portraits. I have some videos on the ones I've done as well too. So, you know, I do a lot of artwork stuff. I'm never going to give up eBay. eBay is still my #1 source of income. My artwork, though, has been taking off. You know, we're over and above what I expected to make in art and stuff. So, you know, if you can do 15,000 extra in artwork, you know, more power to you. And we've already beat that. That was my goal for the end of the year. I've actually hit it early, so, you know, I'm 2 months ahead of my goal. So, you know, next thing that happens now, I'm going to set a new goal, and we're going to set some new things. I've got some leverage going now on my trilobite too. So I'll discuss that in the future. I still have a little bit of weight on something else going on with that, but you may see it here on a national site soon. Just FYI, I have got some responses from some people and toy makers right now, so a little surprised it happened, but you know, I'll go into that as time goes on. SP, welcome. About 35 pre-1750 vellum documents. 500 is going to sell $30. That sounds like a very good price. I sell single pages from 1750 and before. We've even had a bunch that were bought from a record person that I know. He got them in on trade from somewhere, and I sell those too. $30 is a pretty good price for 1750 or before. Now, I've had single pages out of books going back to the 1610 era. I want to say I had a couple from like 1480s. Just individual random pages. Those things sell, believe it or not. People want a piece of history. They'll frame it. They'll put it on their wall. They'll get a fancy little nameplate for it, and they'll go from there. So, you know, I sell all that. That sounds like a good price to me. It might even be a little too cheap depending on what they are, so I would look into them a little bit. We've sold individual pages from books for, you know, $75 depending on the book. So, you know, and I've had some rare Bible pages too that have shown up and I've had in my collection. Now, I've kept a few too, so we have our own collection of a few items too. Let's see here. James S. Yeah, I love the content and what we do. I'm a paper person, you know. It's cheap, it's easy to get. You know, I'm into Halloween and artwork too, though, so, you know, honestly, if I could sell artwork, you know, full-time, I would still be doing a double job. I'd be doing eBay full-time and doing my artwork full-time if that's what it took. I'd just hire a couple more employees and we'd go from there. Ian had to be stuck on the other side today, but I might do a picture-in-picture and have him in a couple of videos too so you can see who else is here. Welcome, Hazel. Andrew, yeah, it's, as I said, Got Print is who I use for getting my postcards printed. Thank you, the Violet and Lemon. Cougar 59.99, welcome. Let's see here. Hang on, my feed's popping up and down again. Welcome, John Carlson. Thank you, James. Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Again, we like dressing up. We do this. You know, I'm going to go to Dragon Con one of these days for sure. I don't know if we'll hit Comic Con, but we will do Dragon Con in Atlanta for sure one of these days. It'll be a family affair. Susie. It depends on what the articles. I would say no. Advertisements, I would say yes. From Ladies Home Journal. It just depends on what it is. What's the best, Hazel L? What's the best old matches to look for? Feature matches. And if you don't know what feature matches is, I'm not going to give this one out. As I said, you should always be looking up stuff. Open up yourself a window and do a comp search on eBay for feature matchbook. And you will see the difference. I'm not going to give it out again, but feature matches are what I buy. Feature matchbooks. Those are my #1 type of match I will buy every time. Second one is anything California or Tahoe. So, you know, China, if you're lucky enough to find China, obviously hop on the China ones if it's from a location like a hotel or something. Just typical China matchbook faces aren't worth a ton of money, though. Question, what keywords would you search on eBay for researching for Halloween? Halloween, you can literally look in the collectibles section. It depends on what it is. If it's a Halloween postcard, just type in Halloween postcard and do a search that way. Halloween decoration, Halloween jack-o'-lantern, JOL you'll see too. So that's the short version of jack-o'-lantern. So those are keywords that I personally look for. So let's see here. The Violet Lemon Professor, how do you do on vintage manuals like heavy equipment, tractors, etc.? They have to be really vintage for me to mess with those. They're not big sellers unless there's something good. It's a hit or miss on those. Well, thank you, Studio 1231. I appreciate that. I always appreciate the super chats. Again, I forget they're there half the time, honestly. I'm not a big marketer on YouTube. I just start talking and do my thing. I do miss doing that, I guess, at some point. But if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button on me there, and we will go from there. What are mistakes to avoid in paper? Geez, look up everything. That's all I can tell you is look up everything. If it's dirt cheap or you're buying a lot of it, you can usually do pretty good if you're spending just a few bucks on a box. I'll buy a ton of it. When we first started out, I used to buy box loads of this stuff at sales, just for learning experiences, I guess. You know, if you spend 10 bucks and you've got a huge box of stuff and there's hundreds of items in there, your chances are going to get your money back. And that way you'll be able to take your time and look up everything in that box to see what's what. It would be hard. I'd have to really think about what mistakes, because it's been years since I bought a bad piece of paper. You know, and if I take a chance, I know that there's a chance on it, but usually it's $1 or less when I take a chance. Other than that, I've looked it up or I've had it and I know how much the items sell for. So that's just my own personal experience. I had somebody ask me, you know, how to tell a $20 Trifari piece from like a $1,000 one. I can't give you an answer on how you yourself can tell. I can tell instantly because I've handled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these types of pieces. So, you know, it's hard to say and hard to tell you how to do that without spending and investing the time. Nothing on here is easy. Nothing on here is going to be some simpleton thing where you're instantly going to make money. You know, it's just not going to happen. You know, you've got to spend the time. I've spent years to get to where I'm at. You know, and we're still not anywhere near the top of the pile here. There's other sellers even on YouTube that probably do more than us. You know, we do very well. You know, we've been in 6 digits, you know, take home for quite some time. You know, it's the effort you put in. The more effort you put in, the better you're going to get results on it. And, you know, even for those of you, let's say you're sourcing 20 hours a week. You're listing for 20 more hours, you're still missing something. You should be researching stuff for another 5 or 10 hours a week if you really want to bust it on that, you know. If you're just starting off, you're new to this is trying to be your main source of income, you're going to have to put in, you know, 50, 60 hours in the week to get this going to where you'd feel comfortable. You don't necessarily have to do that, but if you want to get to that point where you've got a good check rolling in all the time, you've got to put the extra effort in. There's just no way around it. I can't stress that enough. eBay is not easy, and it is not a quick flip on anything. You can quick flip on a few items here, a few items there, but you're always going to run into a bottleneck where you can't find items. It's just the way it is. Hey, Ian, if you need to go at 8, that's fine. But anyway, I've got Ian here. He's off at 8. He's got plans for tomorrow and stuff, so anyway. We'll go on for a little while longer. We've got quite a few people still watching, so... again, I will still have my Thursday live feed, just FYI. I'm still still tentatively talking about doing a live search through some postcards. You see the black light's much better today. I have messed around with this. If there is ever an issue where we're not broadcasting like last week, I have terrible, terrible, terrible internet through AT&T. It is hit or miss. I always run a test run, 20 or 30 minutes before the show actually starts, on a private video to make sure I have, adequate speed and bit rate and the whole works. And, sometimes that video goes through just fine. And then when I hit time to actually start the show, the bit rate's different and I have to adjust things. So, again, that's confined to the actual internet service I have. Technically wise, the black or the blue screen and all this stuff and the green screen doesn't add or cause any issues with what we're doing. It's just, I guess, a aesthetic issue as well as anything else. So anyway, any tips on photographing jewelry? I might have my wife talk about that. My wife actually takes the best jewelry pictures that we've ever had out of this place. Some of the jewelry will be taken on I have a half, like a neck bust statuary. I've got hands and things like that. And she takes just awesome pictures on that. So, you can change up your colors, your background colors on jewelry. Try to get non-reflective material. Usually you can buy the jewelry display items off of eBay, like black hands, white hands, black half bust with no head, and white ones as well too. They're like a soft felty material, and they no reflections, so that's what you want. We have a DSLR camera too, so for us, I can get rid of the glare. I can put polarized lenses on it so I don't get any side lighting or anything like that. I don't always do that with some paper items, but the jewelry we do, because jewelry has to display very well. There's millions of pieces of jewelry on there too, so if you're selling jewelry, research everything before you list it. That's key for every single thing. I've had some people say they're not doing well, and I've looked at a few stores just, out of courtesy. And, people still aren't looking up everything, Just because you think you know what you're talking about in an item, I don't always know what I'm talking about. I mix up on some items here. Look up everything. When in doubt, look it up. And even if you're pretty sure, still look it up. Eventually you'll never have to look up those items again because you've looked them up so many times. That's why I say time in is the key to this. I've got a lot of time invested in eBay. I've got a lot of time invested into researching, to listing, to doing shortcuts, to the best way we can photograph. I've also have a scanner, which I am going to show you here too. Popeye's Postcards, he's another gentleman on here. I've talked about him once before. I do check his channel out too. There's not a lot of channels that I do watch, but I love paper, and he's just into paper, so postcards. But there's a scanner that I'll show you in a video too, and I was quite impressed. I went through 7 scanners before, I even gave up scanners because they just weren't as practical. Our photo setup it takes a little longer to do a photo with our photo setup, but it's not that much of a difference. But again, I have to photograph some things you can't use a scanner for. All the fragile paper, some postcards won't even go through. If you've got an embossed postcard, they won't go through a scanner at all. And what I have is a duplex scanner, which scans both sides of the item at the very same time. So that you can't beat that. Yeah, postcards are my thing. Let me see here. Yeah, eBay isn't easy, Mike. You should know that. Everybody should know that one. The Violet Lemon. How long did it take me to get 40? We've got like almost 47,000 up right this minute. I had over that up not too long ago, but we sold a bunch, and I've slacked off a little bit because of some other avenues. I want to get my trilobites somewhere planted before Christmas so I can get some Christmas sales out of it. Whatever you do on your own stuff like that, if you're doing your models, or you're doing artwork or anything like that, count on those as being a long tail item because you've got to set them up right. You've got to have the right market. You've got to have researched those items as well too. I hunted around for printers. I ordered sample print cards from every one of the companies that I planned on using, and Got Print was the one that really did the professional job. So, I like theirs the best anyway. Let's see here. Great channel question. Do you pay your fees monthly or weekly or what? Thanks. I pay my fees at the end of every month, and it's thousands of dollars, just FYI. Average month, we may pay out, I don't know, over $4,000 in fees for the stores. Now that's my store fee, which is $350 per store. So right off the bat, that's $700, and the rest are in extra listings or final value fees. and we make an 80% profit. So you can figure out the math yourself. If I'm paying $4,000 in fees, and that's included in the 20% fee or my 20% costs, you can kind of get an idea on what we do. So those are honest figures. That's literally what I look at on a monthly basis. Obviously, the next couple months we'll probably be paying more, and our sales will be going through the roof. But an average day is minimum $850 or so, $875. So that hasn't changed. We had some days at the beginning of this month we were running just over 9 a day in sales. But again, it fluctuates. So we do projections every day of the week. So it's gone down a little bit, but I'm still up over last year. So I could care less at this point. Things are going good. I don't have any issues right now anyway. I wouldn't be doing the extra time and effort on YouTube if I couldn't afford the time. It's a relaxation for me, I guess, because I'm not just crammed in a little cubicle all day. Thanks, Chris. Glad to have you. Let's see here. I'll get a few more questions out, but I am going to cut it off in a few more minutes here. Yeah, I can't tell you on looking stuff up when you're out. Now, like on books, you can download the entire database for like Amazon FBA from some of the programs. So if you're out in an area just doing books are easy to look up, offline. Just FYI, I don't remember the name of the program. I've used it. I know somebody who has it. So you literally download an entire database and the information's on your phone. So you can go without internet connection and still scan books. Just FYI. Yeah, knowledge is key, Duncan VR, on this. I research every single thing I can get, honestly. And, there's just no other way around it. Without research, we would be dead in the water. So, it's taken us, 6 years to get to this point right here with, we're heading towards the 50,000 listing mark. And as I said, my goal is 100,000 listings. And then from there, we're going to start another store here. When we hit 50,000, we decided I will open up a third anchor store. So we will have 3 anchor stores. I'll just transfer 10,000 listings from one of our stores into that anchor store, and it's going to lower our cost per month, or per month. At the end of the year, we'll have thousands extra from saving on those costs. So again, that's what we do. I wouldn't recommend anybody jumping into anything. Don't jump into a big store until you've got enough to cover it, till you know that it's going to be cheaper for you to have a store versus listing them individually. Now, I've got a video on that as well, too. So FYI, for those of you who aren't familiar, I've got well over 300 videos up now. We've done, this may not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but we've hit over 250,000 views on our videos now. I think we're like 260,000 views on our videos. So, I was, happy about that. Again, I know there's people get that in one day and in an hour on some videos, but for the niche that we do and for being a YouTuber for eBay and Amazon, I thought that was pretty good for considering we've only been on since like May or something like that. So anyway, I appreciate everybody that's on to help the view count, of course. But again, you're no one's going to ever make it rich on YouTube unless they're getting millions a day. So anyway, this is more a therapeutic, I guess, at this point. I love talking about what I do. So anyway, let me see here. I'm going to cut it off in just a couple minutes, but I have just a couple more questions. Let's see here. First, last. What is the advantage of having more than one store? You're going to save thousands of dollars. If you watch my video on breaking down the store costs, we save, by having several stores, we save $2,500 a year just in store costs. Altogether, with some of the other things we do, we save over $4,000 above and beyond what other people would be spending by not having these stores. So when you open up a second store, it lowers your costs down. So any listing over 10,000 listings, I pay more for. So anything I can do to lower that cost down is a plus. So if I open a third store, it's going to lower my cost below 5 cents a listing, and I'll get 10,000 free listings plus another $150 worth of boxes as well. So, it all around, it's going to lower your costs. I think it's like $2,500 we save a year just by having 2 anchor stores. So 3 anchor stores is going to save me almost $4,000 a year in listing fees. So again, that's why most people have more than one anchor store, because you can save money that way. Now, I can't say you're going to save money by having 2 premium stores or anything like that, but I can tell you for sure, as having several anchor stores will save you money once you have that much stuff to list. I mean, I've probably got, a couple 100,000 listings worth of items here to list. Again, I buy a ton through the summer every year. We do this, and then I don't buy nearly as much from this point going forward till the winter's over. I don't go out as much in the winter. It's here we can have snow and below zero weather because of the wind chill effect from Lake Erie. So there's not a lot of people doing stuff. There's month or 2 on end where there's not a single estate sale that I would care to go to. So again, I buy a ton of stuff through the summer, as I've said. So we'll stockpile the stuff, and it won't be I don't call it dead stock, it's back stock. It's stuff that I can list in the future that will help me out in the end. So again, that's what we do with that. Let's see here. How do you share your credentials when letting others list for you, or any advice? Well, they actually list here at our facility. So everybody's logged in as me. So, everybody's the same. The people that work for us are family friends. They're friends of my kids. They've been friends of my kids for years. Every one of them. And every one of the people who works for me have actually spent the night before they ever worked for me. Many times my kids go to their houses. So they're longtime friends. So for us, I don't have an issue on, safety with them. They take over the business sometimes when we go out of town, so I never shut off my business when we're on vacation, because there's always somebody available to come over and pack up or do something like that. So, that's the way to do this. If you're a one-man or even 2 people show, you're going to have to shut your stuff down and put yourself on a vacation. I don't like to put it on vacation mode unless I have to, like a God knows what emergency. So anyway. Evaluation of cost is super. Yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas. Well, thank you, the Junking Data Girl. Yeah, no, like on viewership here, she brought that up, just on viewership here. Now, I look at other YouTubers, and, there's YouTubers here that have 25 times the amount of subscribers that I have, but they only have 3 times the amount of views on average per most of their videos. So, I'm not interested in getting a bunch of subscribers who aren't interested in watching the material. I'd rather have people on the channel who actually like and understand the value of what I'm giving out. So, I don't do some of the other videos that other people do. Nothing wrong. I watch garbage, picking videos and dumpster diving and all that kind of stuff. I don't do it because I can make my money better somewhere else. And I'm not trying to make a bunch of videos just to make money on. So, just FYI. So anyway, I think we're doing pretty good. Again, even if I only had a handful of people and somebody was enjoying it, I'd probably still like to talk about what I do. So eBay has been talking about implementing multi-user accounts. I'm in a group that they actually survey and ask questions to. It's like a research thing. I don't get anything extra out of it. They don't give us a dime or anything, but I put my 2 cents worth in. I can't remember the name of the thing because I only get one like once a week or something like that. I don't answer them all, but I always give my feedback on the ones that are important to me or the subscribers I have. So anyway. Well, thanks everybody. Well, I'm going to cut it short here. Again, as I said, I will still have one on Thursday. There will still be a live one, and we will go from there. But I appreciate everybody who's been on. Again, somebody won that as long as they sent that in. Again, I am not Gene Simmons. I'm sure somebody probably sent it in at this time. Anybody could have sent it in. So anyway, if you didn't see it, you missed the beginning of the video. I did give out a piece of original artwork, so go back and watch it if you're interested. I'll show you the screamer one more time, and we are going to be out of here.